What's up, guys? Been a little busy with cars, and haven't really been the greatest at some YouTube videos. But today we're gonna do hopefully something that's not too hard. According to the internet, which is always a great source, but according to the internet, it's not too hard. So here's what we got going on. First, I'm gonna give you a quick update on the car though, and show you a few things that have changed that I didn't film. So here's what we've got going. Most noticeably, tint. Oh, this is on. I got tint. So it's 5%. I like dark tint. What can I say? Then next, got a wideband, a new boost gauge. It's in PSI, and that oil pressure gauge isn't the actual one I'm using. It's just sitting in place until I get an electronic sending one. That one's just a filler, so it's not empty. But tint's done. I love it. You guys saw there's the harnesses. Besides that, interior's kind of been cleaned up a little bit, nothing crazy. And then this I just installed yesterday, and I'm gonna reinstall it nicer. Just kind of threw it on there. But this is a Turbo Smart boost controller. So now instead of making 9 pounds like I was, I'm making more like 14. Much more fun. But that'll be relocated. It's just there. I just threw it in temporary until I'm going to remount it nicer. And then let's see what else. I don't think a whole lot else has changed, but I do have a different manifold on the way currently for it. It's a used one, but it's a stock mount, equal length one, so it should flow much better. And then I got this yesterday from a friend. Wastegate, external wastegate. So depending on the new turbo or on the new manifold setup, we might be swapping it out to external gate and getting rid of all that ugly crap. So one step at a time here. But one thing I really want to do is I hate a messy engine bay. So we're going to be doing a wire tuck today. So this fuse box and hopefully some of this stuff as well is going to end up here by the ECU. So the way you do that in the MR2, it's pretty simple. So just kind of pull this out of the way here. It's kind of just clipped on. Speaking of which, I need to get new clips because they're all busted. But this is the harness right here, right? So that's your harness. This is the wideband harness. And what traditionally right now is stock, you can see where it goes into the firewall right there. So what we're going to be doing is we're pulling out that speaker and putting a hole with the hole saw in behind it. And then what we are able to do is run the wire up through the fender well into here. So you guys can probably kind of see it, but there's a gap right there. So we're going to just get started on that. So the first things first is I need to finish pulling off this. There's just another screw or nut up here. Let's see. There we go. And that's out. Just set that there because it's okay. This is we're going to be unplugging all of this stuff so we can feed it out. So I'm also going to unhook my harnesses here so I can fold the seat all the way forward. But I'll show you that when we get there. Got this unplugged. So we've got 4 plugs here, right? They just plug in right there. They pop out real easy. Then you've got this cover here. See? Open that up. There's 2 10mm nuts. Pull those off. There's your power wire. So next things next is we're going to make sure all of our clips are freed up here. And then I'm going to fold forward the seat and pull off this trim right here. Okay, so here's where we're at. We're at. Goodness gracious. So we've got a ground wire right there. Unhook that. Then we've got a plug here that goes to your door switch. That's got to come out. Then most cars you'd have another connector, which I'm assuming is your stock stereo plug. It is, yeah. Someone's kind of hobbled together on this. And then you have this wire right here, which just goes up into here. I honestly have no clue what that is. Instead of taking apart all this trim, because it's a pain with the harness bar, I cut it. Is it the right way? No. Do I care? Not really. I will just be soldering that probably back together. So, oh well. So that's all unhooked. Now we're going to deal with our rubber grommet. So, we're going to look in the engine bay, but basically what we're going to be doing is pulling the whole harness out that way. And then we need a, let's see where I put it. An 1.5-inch hole saw. So this is the important part. This is how we're going to get our harness through the wall. It'd be nice if I had one with the locating bit. Hopefully I don't have to go buy a different one, because who knows. And then what we're going to be doing is putting that like right up here. So I may still end up having to pull off this trim, because I don't know if I can do it with the speaker there, but we're going to find out. So next thing's next, I'm going to see if I can pull this harness into the engine bay though. So we're going to this grommet just pushes out like so, and then I'm going to pull off this intake though, so that way I have more room. So I'm going to pull this off real quick. Harness is out, most of the way, not all the way, but most of the way. So when you get in here, there's a few things you have to unhook. There is your temp sender wire, which I might even cut off because I don't use it, so that way the fan's on full time. Which is another trick. If you guys have an MR2, didn't know that if you unplug it, it puts your intercooler fan on the whole time. Is it more likely to burn out the motor? Yes, but do you get cooler boost temps? Yes. So I just have it unplugged. That's me. You have to undo, there is a clip right there. See if it'll focus. Probably not. But you got to undo that clip. Then there's a few zip ties. There's zip tied to the cable for the latch, so you got to cut those. And then it's just a matter of slowly pulling it through. So next, I got to unhook those clips down there, and then unbolt the fuse box and unplug it from that. So here's where we're at. I just got the whole harness pulled out. There's a fuse box there. You have to go into the trunk. You have to unhook all your tail lights if you have the power antenna. You have to unhook one plug of the ECU, another one there. Carpet light if you have one. You unhook all those, and then in the engine bay here, you have a plug here, got a plug there. You got your two plugs that go to the fuse box. You got your main power wire, and then on the fuse box itself, you've got two screws. You've got one that goes here and one that goes here, and then you have a clip right there. It pulls right out. You've got some clips down there, and let's see, and this guy right here. And then it pulls out. Kind of, you have to wiggle it out, kind of work it out, but it comes out. So actually, really not too terrible. So already we're making progress here. So, and then this might end up back there as well. I'm still trying to figure that out, one step at a time here. So I'm gonna clean up this area first and kind of get it organized a little bit better so I can see what's going on here. All right, so I kind of got this a little bit more sorted out. There's the igniters right there. I just pulled out this. I'm assuming it's a rectifier or something or other of that sort. I'm gonna try to mount as much of it in the truck as I can. I'm gonna try to avoid extending wires for right now. Well, I may end up rerouting the harness later down the road and extending it and doing it. But what we're gonna do right now, while I have this sorted, is we're gonna run this harness first, because then I can know how much I can work with this stuff. So I'm gonna run this harness. So first things first is I gotta drill that hole in the firewall. I will show you guys that when it's done. And then we're gonna route it all the way through. And then once we have that routed and kind of situated, then we'll figure out this kind of area. But either way, that's where we're at for right now. I've pulled off a lot of this blue conduit because I don't like it. If I'm going to do a harness in the future, I want to redo it and do it with like black braided cloth covers, because that's the cleanest if you ask me. I don't like colored stuff. So we're getting a lot of that pulled off. So what we're going to do is we're going to feed it through. You feed it through from the trunk to the front. So I'm going to drill that hole first, and I'll show you that. You got it cut. Kind of a funky place to do it in, but you can see it there. And then I started wrapping some vacuum hose around it. Not quite done yet, but that way the edges aren't sharp. So that exits out right here. If you really want to make your life easier, you could probably go through here, but see, it's just right there. Yeah. So I'm going to finish that up, and then we're going to see about running it back here. Alright, so I just pulled the harness through into the car. I'm going to have to retry to put my vacuum line on and pull it off. I know I didn't think of that. That's alright. Now, a lot of people said online that this was the hardest part, that people had a hard time with it. Some people even took off like their fuel filler neck. I didn't. It's all on there still. What I used was a baling wire. I've got probably, I don't know, 6 feet. And I ran it through the hole, made sure it was over the filler neck, and it came out here. And then I just tied it really tightly around the end and pulled it through. It just takes some feeding, some time, some patience. And then in order to get it into the car, you have to kind of stick your hand up through the vent and have a hand on the other side and kind of push each plug through individually. And it has a wrap on the harness right here. Take this off beforehand. I had to take it off while it was in there, which was kind of a pain. But it went in. Honestly, it took me like 20 minutes, 15 minutes somewhere. Wasn't that bad. So I'm going to go ahead and try to put the interior back together. And then I think we're pretty much done in the interior. I'm not going to fully put it back together, but semi. And then it's time to get the rear sorted out. Alright, so I was wrong. There's actually 3 wires that go up here earlier. I didn't spot the 3rd one. But those are fixed. Those are done. So that way I'm not worried about those. All the plugs are back in, except for this ground, which I may have to ground somewhere else now. Not 100% sure on that. We'll figure that out when we get there. And then I'm not plugging in the front yet, just so that way I don't have power to anything in the back, so I don't fry me or fry anything else. So we're gonna go start in the back here though in a sec. Here's where we're at in the back. It is not perfect, and I know it's not. So this is more of a proof of concept or anything, or if you want something that's quick and dirty, this is the way to do it. Eventually, I would like to go back and redo it and extend wires and everything like that and make it proper, but for now this works. So as you can see, it's already looking way better in here. Igniters have to stay in here for now unless you got a different spark plug wire. You could relocate them in the trunk as well, but I've tucked everything else. I want to redo a sub wire so that's not running back there. But this is what we've got going on so far back here. It is still a mess. I've been trying to sort out what I'm doing with it. So we got to run our power wires to it. Then we got our harness plugs for the fuse box. And that's what connects that in. So our fuse box is on. Then I believe this is the, I don't know, this system. Got those plugged in. See, the main issue with this one is this plug right here is so short. So it has to be like right next to that. I added a ground wire just to make sure that they're grounded well. But if you wanted this to be really ideal, you cut these, extend them, tuck everything right here. So I'll probably be doing that eventually, but not today. Put a grommet in here. I know it's got a lot of empty space, but it's better than nothing. So yeah, so I'm actually getting pretty close to just test firing it. Then I've been getting rid of all this ugly blue conduit that I hate to help clean it up, but so far it is an improvement and it's opened up this area. So I also was rerouting my boost controller a little bit. So we're making progress here. It's not perfect, but if you guys want, you know, this is the basic principle, and then you can build off it and go where you want to go with it. Car's back together for the most part. So like I was just trying to reiterate, so this isn't a perfect wire tuck, you know, and it's not a full wire tuck. It's a partial wire tuck, but it gets rid of the fuse box and the other panel and kind of cleans it up a little bit less in the bay. So it's a step in the right direction. So it's not perfect. In order to really do it right, you should cut the harness and extend it. I'm not going to be doing that yet until I'm getting more into it. But for now, it gets it out. I don't use my trunk a whole ton. So it does intrude into your trunk space right now. So if you use your trunk a lot or you want that space, then I'd be worried about that. But let me show you what we've got. The harness runs down here. You can kind of see it. I need new sill plates. Runs down from here. And then up behind this panel right here through over the filler neck, where it then exits back here, which you can kind of see. So this is not perfect, like I said. So this is still, I'm gonna have to extend wires eventually, but for now I don't care. This is fine for me. It'll do the job. So I have access to it still. It's hidden away and honestly, it looks so much better. I've got this whole area freed up in space. It's gonna make it easier to work on stuff. You know, there's less stuff in the way. I can now change my distributor and the cap and rotor without having to move a whole bunch of crap. So I'm pretty happy with it. So that's that. So that'll probably wrap it up for today. Really, it wasn't too hard a job. It took me like 3 to 4 hours. I wasn't even really working on it the whole time. I had to go pick up my sister from a school thing and a few other things, run some errands. So really not too bad. Just the hardest part, drilling the hole was kind of a pain. My drill was too long, but it works still. Just make sure you have a good bit. And feeding it through takes some time. Just be patient. You know, it's not the easiest job in the world, but it does help. It does clean up the engine bay. It's going to make things easier to work on, and I like it way more already. I hate a messy engine bay, so we're one step closer to cleaning up the engine bay. So when you pop the lid, it's not just so meh, you know? So anyways, I think that'll wrap it up. Appreciate you guys watching. You know, if you have any ideas on what I can do to improve it, or questions, comments, whatever, you know, just leave them down below. Happy to get back to them. And besides that, I hope you're all having a great day, and peace out from Arsenal Garage, guys.